Kennen.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. It is a real comfort pick there for Hanabi, and you want to deny some of these champions that are really easy to play towards for Chovy on the TF. Instead, it's going to be the Olaf ban, which makes me think they want to go towards their jungle fourth, go for Xin, something like that here. You know, a lot of people have been talking about their big three, you know, being kind of like J4, Lee Sin, as well as the Xin Zhao. But there's a lot of picks if they do get banned out. If that top tier gets banned out, we've seen Poppy Jungle coming out, you know, some of these other reserve type picks that I think can be really strong.
I feel like Kennen is just such a strong champ now. Jarvan top is down, which is good into it. Jace, Camille, Graves is the last AD top available, which I think PSG denying it from Hanwha makes a lot of sense, because when you're playing TF, you want to play for a strong top side. And it, yes, can be a flex, but I'm expecting that to go to top, depending on what Hanwha Life blind pick.
Exactly.
They can move that to jungle if they want to.
Yeah, definitely expecting it to be top. It's almost always been played there, but if you end up seeing a bad matchup here up on the top side, it's very easy to move it down to jungle. I do not think you're feeling super threatened by the Renekton. Of course, Renekton and TF is a strong duo there if they move up to that top side, but the reduction in the empowered stun does make it pretty easy to deal with in the 1v1.
I feel like in AP jungler, I think something like Nidalee would actually work pretty well right now. If you're playing double AD top jungle into Graves top, that's just disaster. Even then, you could just put Graves jungle and pick a Kennen. So I feel like something like a Nidalee, a Lilia would be great here for Hanwha Life. If they pick Xin Zhao, I think they might struggle, or Viego.
It's going to be the Viego locked in, so as you say, not much AP threat on the side of Hanwha Life. Of course, Twisted Fate is magic damage, but with the Rapid Fire Cannon Everfrost build, you're not putting out all the DPS that you could be. And so now PSG have an option. Do you look towards putting this Graves in the jungle and maybe, I'm going to say it just because there's a lot of AD on the other side, a Malphite in the top lane.
Malphite!
Man, yeah, Malphite would be pretty strong here. Xin seems like the obvious one because it's still up, but I do think there's some like legitimate options there as far as going more of a tanky champ. You know, you could have even gone Poppy Jungle or something along those lines because they are very physical damage heavy. But it is going to be the dueling power that they're kind of looking for here. You want to be able to play with your Graves 2v2 top side to be able to answer any potential ganks. You know that TF is going to be looking to go towards top, try to get Morgan ahead.
Yeah, I think just going off topic a tiny bit for a second, Poppy Jungle is like undefeated right now at Worlds. Poppy top was the only champ that was kind of losing out.
And that was also DFM, which was also winless.
Yeah, but if you're just looking at both of these comps, Sylas into TF obviously gets pushed in early, wants to take away TF ult, but on the other side, Graves will push in top. I think HLE have favorable mid and bot if they want to play towards bot side, and they have a lot of disengage, but they lack a lot of engage. HLE needs to get this Renekton ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you just leave them isolated, if you want to try to play towards Deft and you're ignoring the Renekton, it's not going to be a good time for the Renekton in the 1v1 against Graves, expecting that to be pushed in. We saw Someday play this matchup, went very poorly for him as the Renekton side, so you do need to get out there, utilize the gank existence that the Renekton provides, but in doing so, you're not playing towards your win condition traditionally, which has been Deft for HLE.
PSG, if they win this, they have the head-to-head over Hanwha Life. They'd be 2-0 up in the day, and we could have everything wrapped up by the second game of the day if RNG take down Fnatic. Hanwha Life fighting for their lives here in groups. A loss here does not eliminate them, but would put them in a very tricky spot to get back.
Yeah, it would put PSG at 3-1 if they win this game here. And the group would be, yeah, like you said, almost decided. If Fnatic lose to RNG, that's it. So yeah, Europe is standing behind HLE for them to take this game. And we're straight.
I mean, so's Korea.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
they're pretty HLE favored in
yeah, that's kind of obvious as well, Medic, isn't it?
The PCS wants PSG to win, just so that you know.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. What about Messi? Who does he want to win?
Oh, it's probably PSG.
Probably PSG.
Hoping Mbappe in the middle lane.
Fan.
Oh, is he? He's a C9 fan, is he?
Yeah.
You importing him as well, is that?
We're trying. We're trying.
Too soon, Medic.
Is it? It's off season, you know.
Yes, it is. Let's get on to the
Might
game.
be better than
though.
Barcelona.
True. I mean, it can't be much worse than 8-2, can you? Barcelona. PSG, though, setting up line of scrimmage here. No real forays into the enemy side for either team.
That's a mana flow in the bank if the MF is running it. We take those.
Very likely. He's playing Comet, so I can't imagine that he's not running it. But going to be playing more heavily there for lane with the Comet. We've seen a lot of different kind of variations. Some people going, you know, when Sven's been playing MF a lot, it's been more like PTA, you know, crit style. But we still have been seeing a lot of Comet lethality, which does really give you a bit of an edge, poke wars in lane. And we'll see if they can kind of build some sort of an advantage for themselves. If HLE is going to be playing towards top side, you know, River has the option to answer that, but they also have the option to use bot prio and try to play, you know, around there for early dragons.
And I think that's exactly what they're doing. It looks like Wither is just going to path bot because he has guaranteed push in that lane with Thresh and can get a free crab. He knows if he goes up towards top side and matches the Xin Zhao kind of pathing, he won't have top push. So contesting that crab becomes a little bit more complicated. And Sylas, the way he functions as the champ is he can trade his HP for the wave. He can trade his HP to get the wave pushed in if he so dearly wants to. But for now, Chovy starting E on the TF just naturally gives him level 1 pressure.
Yeah, it's the power of the Kingslayer for Maple in the mid lane. Heals himself up a bunch with that W. As you say, jungler's pathing top to bot for Hanwha Life, looking to get down towards that bottom lane. River's going up towards the top side, and already Hanabi is getting a little bit of damage down onto Morgan. Deft eats the Make It Rain. Any ARAM players know the power of APMF.
It's so obnoxious, isn't it? With Comet and Scorch, and you can't even move, and it's hitting you from such a long range.
The slow is the worst part, honestly. I just can't stand the slow. I can deal with the damage and the range and everything else, but man.
Can't move. It's like a stun.
Yeah.
It's the same with Cannon Barrage, right? When you're caught in the middle of Cannon Barrage, like, oh, I have to run all the way to the outside of this.
It's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
You're in the bank smack in the middle. And yeah, River's full cleared his bot side. Willer's done the same top side, and both junglers, I believe, were spotted out on early wards.
Yeah.
On Raptors specifically, one from PSG, one from HLE. An interesting thing to me in this draft, Azale, is Chovy on TF. What can he get done on the map?
Yeah, I mean, he's a player that's known much more for playing 4-lane, for focusing on his own farm, but this is not really how the champion functions. Generally, the champion succeeds by getting things done for his teammates, for putting them ahead.
Yep.
Because especially with the more traditional builds, with Everfrost Rapid Fire, you know, that gold is useful, but you are not going to hard carry a game generally. You know, you are relying on getting your teammates into a really good spot and having them make good on that later on.
Well, Hanwha have had relatively good early games throughout the course of Worlds so far, building up, you know, about 1,300, 1,400 gold lead on average. PSG on the other side actually really struggle in the early game. It's been their mid-game, their team fighting that has allowed them to win these games.
Yeah, especially against RNG, that game that, yes, they did lose, but they did find some kind of comeback with the quadra kill in bot. They got Nash as well, but in the early game, they were definitely really struggling.
Yeah, the gold stats are always a little bit weird for me when it's also over 3 games, right? Because if you get trashed in 1 game, that can really affect the stats. It's like, wow, they're down 2.4k every game? Well, no, they kind of just got trashed by RNG, and that skewed those stats quite a lot.
I will say, importantly for Hanwha, we took out the playing stage games. They were just the groups there, so in their 3 games, again, very easy to be skewed. They have been able to develop a little bit of a lead. Hanabi here trading in the top lane, smokescreen. One of the most broken abilities in the game and often overlooked, stops Morgan from being able to get any more damage down.
And the worst part about smokescreen is you look so stupid to your teammates. You know? Like,
I can't see.
Like, what is this monkey doing? You don't know if you're winning the fight, you're losing the fight. Like, you're just spinning in a circle.
It's like, you know, those toddlers that put their hands over their eyes and then cry because they can't see their mom's like, just take your hands off your eyes, mate.
It's so simple.
Terrible, man. It's just the worst.
But Morgan keeps on winning these trades up on top. Looks like he's pushing Hanabi back, has the Doran shield, so has a little bit more sustain. But if he can get that Fury stacked up, I think he has kill pressure in around 8 seconds if he full commits with Flash.
Kaiwing's looking to make something happen in the mid lane as Chovy constantly pushing this wave under towers, amassed about a 10 CS lead, but Kaiwing will be spotted on this ward. Control ward goes down, we'll clear it out. Maple looking for a trade, and Chovy immediately backs away knowing that the PSG support is here.
Yeah, and with Maple low on mana, you know, at worst case, he just helps him push it out. But HLE are trying to prevent this from happening. They're moving Willer as well as Vsta up towards mid.
Yeah, just a lot of contests around mid, but look at the lanes. There's such a big gold lead for HLE already, right? Top is even. Both top laners have TP'd back. Bot has a good CS lead. Mid has a good CS lead. Looks like Hanwha Life are winning out on these lanes. We saw mid and bot have CS leads, and top was winning out on the trade, so early game's going in their favor.
Kind of what you'd expect when you looked at these 2 teams coming into the tournament. PSG actually a lot less bloody here at Worlds than they were in the PCS. It was one of the most active regions in the world coming into Worlds, but since then they've been a little bit more muted, and I think perhaps it's the caliber of their laning opposition that's making them struggle.
Exactly. I mean, they're so dominant in the PCS. They were undefeated in the regular season, you know, just absolutely running over teams, and going up against a much higher caliber of opponent, they have to play with more respect. They don't naturally create the same advantages that they did in their regional league.
Oh, I love the control HLE has here. 3 pink wards set up in the river, and they're...
Look where Unified is, though. He's going to get to this first. The strut on the MF can do a lot of work. Willer's going in. Vsta looking for the play, though, as they get the damage down. River now trying to turn it around. The lantern comes out. Deft flashes forward. River taken out for first blood, and now we'll see Hanwha Life continuing to push forward. Destiny in. Kaiwing shut down. Hanwha Life bang 2.
Yeah, great patience from Hanwha Life. Unified was there in time, but Deft makes up for it by just flashing forwards and securing the first blood. Chovy cutting them off with the ultimate because he can cheat the lane by doing so. And Hanwha Life off to a great early game start here. Will get the Dragons themselves as well.
Yeah, that is huge. Getting the early kill there. Deft grabbing one as well. And Hanabi in big trouble up here on the top side.
Morgan's really winning out on these trades. He has dive pressure. He fast pushes the wave. Hanabi's just going to have to base. So Hanwha Life taking over.
Yeah, the Graves really not getting kind of expected advantage in that 1v1. That almost... that
Dude, I've done that before. I've done that before. Where you take the lantern, or you like jump out of the pit and you're like, wait, the dragon's not dead. And you're just watching it reset. Luckily, they get it in the end. But HLE's setup before this fight started was just fantastic.
Yeah, you know, as you said, it's really kind of all about the warding. You look at the 3 wards across the screen, you know, being able to actually have full vision on this. They're calling up Deft. They know that Chovy has 6 for the ultimate. So even though MF does actually arrive here a little bit earlier than the Aphelios, it's going to go their way.
Yeah, PSG kind of do the right thing. They group up with their jungle support, wait for Unified to arrive, and then they walk in. But River stayed around way too long. HLE were already winning the fight because you face check, we can engage first and get damage down first. And Chovy will always be able to match Maple despite him being closer because of the ultimate.
And I think a lot of it is about vision. I don't think that they expected Deft was there. You know, they got the initial flash out of Vsta, and it looked like they wanted to continue chasing forward, not realizing that the Aphelios was about to arrive. And Deft punishes them so hard on that.
It's always so difficult as well to trade into a Viego in the early game, because as soon as one person goes down, it's health, it's resets, he keeps pushing forward and becomes very difficult to ever catch him out. PSG, 2,000 gold in the hole. Their early games have struggled across the course of group stage so far, and we'll see if they can bounce back from this one, or if the group's going to be a little bit more exciting than we thought. Because of course, if PSG won this and RNG won game 2, the group would be over, apart from seeding for first and second.
Yep, so things looking good here for Hanwha, but we'll see if Maple can get anything done. He does have the TF ultimate stolen now, and they are going to be trying to look for some sort of a play. You know, I'm honestly pretty surprised that in isolation, Hanabi is falling behind. Morgan has just played this top lane very well. You know, that's one of the areas that you expected to have pressure, that you expect to have the push. And if Renekton gets locked under his tower, it starts to get really bad because it's so easy to have a free Q bounce off the tower, you know, get the double detonation there every time he tries to step forward for farm.
Yeah, it's just funny to me that Chovy has like 90, almost 100 CS in 9 minutes. I don't know how he always does this, especially on like a champ like TF. He has used his ult. He did get a kill, but he's still
Chovy. Just don't miss the
CS. Oh, here comes the TF ult from Maple. Deft. Lanterned out. That'll be that.
The power of Thresh, right? It's the reason you pick it with Aphelios. Aphelios has no dashes himself.
Maple just doesn't
out. Maple's on the spot.
He just does a magic trick. And now I will disappear. And then he ults back in the lane. Surprise! I'm back.
My work here is done.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole meme there fits pretty well as a pretty good one. And yeah, as you say, Morgan in a good position in this top lane. 14 CS up. Will is on his way up there as well. Rifthold has just been picked up by the Hanwha Life jungler, and he's not going to put it down quite yet. Haven't actually seen any plates fall for either. Oh, well, bottom lane there's been a couple, but Hanwha haven't been able to push in and get any plates as of yet.
If I'm Hanabi though, I'm sweating, knowing that Chovy has his ultimate backup. You know, Maple just used the stolen ultimate, doesn't have TP, so there is a window here for Chovy to push in, but then potentially look towards top side. You know that Willer does have the Rift Herald as well, so if they want to make a play towards top, utilizing that TF ultimate, Hanabi's going to be in big trouble, and you can tell he's pretty scared to actually move forward. He doesn't really have much vision whatsoever up in that top side. They have that one ward that was in the center of the river, but besides that, it's all Hanwha.
Yeah, Kaiwing and River just now pairing up together to give some kind of topside vision. They are going to miss out on that pink. And there's still the Scuddle, like you said, there's so much vision topside for Hanwha to work with. And the good thing for Hanwha's comp right now is because they have such strong winning lanes, Morgan's winning out and can get the push whenever he needs to. Chovy's winning out with the push, and Deft and Vsta are too. They have 3 lanes of option for Herald. Mid lane will always be the best, so I think cracking open mid and moving your side lanes to mid will be the best play, but PSG for now are stopping that by making sure they put numbers here.
PSG investing a lot of time in this bottom side river just to try and spot Chovy out on any possible roams, but you can see where Hanabi is now in the top lane, all the way back at his Krugs, realizing that he can't trade into Morgan. He's going to wait for that wave to push in, and as Willa shows down towards the bottom lane, I expect Hanabi to then go and catch that wave at the tower.
And you can see, Chovy just stepped back in mid lane, and every time he's off vision, Hanabi basically can't play the game, right? And there's a lot of power in playing around vision as a TF. When the opponent knows you have your ultimate up, every time you push out a wave, you can just step into a side brush with a pink. You don't have to do anything more than that. Your opponents have to respect the potential move.
Yeah, and talking about respect, Willer shows bot, they get the bot push, Morgan. Going on to Hanabi, force him under the tower. I think there's dive potential here, 1v1. He doesn't have stun up though. Chovy's moving down towards bot, so Herald will be placed. I'm not sure if they can get the full tower. There's a ping on a ward behind the Drake pit. Hanabi has TP coming up now, and he's trying to bait.
Morgan's going to stop it. Morgan stops the TP possibility. Hook's going to land there onto River. Deft has the lantern to get away. Riftel does charge in. Still 2 plates remain on that bot tier 1.
Hanabi, Morgan, sorry, just proxying top. Hanabi was trying to base the TP behind on that Drake pit ward, just under the Dragon pit to maybe look for some kind of engage with Maple TPing too. But yeah, Morgan's just proxying him and stopping his base constantly. Dragon spawning soon. HLE should just be able to push bot and take this for themselves. But we talked about the mid and bot push they had in draft, and Willer's just using it to perfection.
And in some ways, I think he actually might have done Hanabi a favor. If you're TPing bot with a Vamp Scepter as Graves, I don't know that it's going to go that well for you. The Deft has basically a full shield bow at this point, so it is rough. You know, you want to be able to have that ability to answer these plays as a Graves. Unless you're way ahead, you've got to be so careful about where you're actually entering these plays. You know, you TP into a hook, you're just going to die.
Yeah, and we talked about PSG's early game. They're really far behind right now, not only in gold, but they've lost all 3 neutral objectives so far. All 3 lanes have just been constantly pushing in, and the only real thing that they've done this game is try to contest vision around mid, and even that hasn't really amounted to anything.
The question then for PSG becomes, can they pull themselves out of this hole with their team fighting, with their mid-game play? Because right now, they are well and truly down in the dirt. Hanwha Life, a 3,000 gold lead. Chovy at 150 farm at 13 minutes. Yeah, Morgan as well going along at 10 a minute on this Renekton. So often highlighted as a weak point for Hanwha Life. So often highlighted as perhaps the worst top laner that Korea was sending. Well, definitely the worst top laner that Korea was sending to Worlds this year. And here, he's just been able to shut down Hanabi.
Yeah, and you would think this is a losing matchup on paper because Graves can get the early push, especially given that they're in isolation. But he's doing fantastic. 20 CS up, constantly having the push, and he's always giving options to his team. Every single time the camera pans up here, it's Morgan forcing Hanabi back.
And part of it to me is it feels like because Hanabi's in this losing situation, he started actually using his spells on the wave a lot. He's spending his Q on the minions, and then anytime the Q is on cooldown, Renekton can actually slice and dice in, take a winning trade. You know, so you kind of just secure your losing position by actually spending your mana, spending your spells on that.
And I feel bad for River, man. Hanabi, you're doing him dirty. That's the second time he took away his Krugs. Means River can never farm his top camps. But anyway, HLE are just going to keep focusing bot side. Morgan can always pull the trigger and TP first. If they get a ward behind the lane and TP in, I think they can look for a 5-man dive. Of course, PSG can match, but when you find your window of opportunity, HLE might snatch it.
Maple working his way up towards the top side here. Morgan, they know he's behind him somewhere.
Chovy can match with ult. He's level 11. He should have the range.
Chovy pushing in the wave. Morgan here. Maple going forward. Morgan dodges away with a slice and dice, and it's a pretty easy escape for the Croc.
Yeah, Maple's going to lose mid wave now, and all the pings come down to bot side. Enemy mid is top side. If he makes any kind of match play here, he has to TP. And HLE will soon get this tower. Plates have fallen. Chovy's going to pop the Destiny.
Bullet time coming out as well. We'll play out the wave. And the Solar Flare bullet time combination is still one that you have to respect. The ability to lock you up. Destiny onto the other side of the wave here. Maple pinged out, but Hanwha Life don't want to take that fight.
Yeah, smart play from Unified. You know, just clear out the wave. When you deny that, there's no way they can actually push forward into you. So, does shut down the play from Chovy, who's just going to continue focusing on farm. And it's getting incredibly rich at this point. There's not a lot of pressure on Hanwha to do anything because they're kind of just passively winning out in all the lanes. You know, normally you would want Chovy to be a little bit more proactive, moving from lanes, playing for topside, you know, where Morgan is actually having this winning position, but it hasn't mattered whatsoever because Morgan's doing just fine on his own. You know, Deft as well as Vsta are doing just fine on his own, and Willer's taking every objective.
Yeah, and they can just sit back, and like you said, taking every objective, sit back and wait for the soul, right? The next dragon's up in 2 minutes, that's around 17. If they take that, they're looking at a soul around 22, 23 minutes into the game if PSG don't start contesting things. This Herald just spawned HLE. If they take that, that's a free mid-tier one that they can take. There's a lot of guaranteed objectives for them on the map right now, and PSG aren't really finding anything.
And it's so interesting because they clearly came into this game with the plan to actually farm these early dragons, which has been very atypical in the group stage at Worlds. We've been seeing much later first dragons, you know, up around 12+ minutes in a lot of these cases, but PSG is moving, feeling like they're missing too much. Unified doesn't have his ult though.
Yeah, look at this. Morgan's bot, so HLE are just trying to buy time. As long as they disengage here, they're getting a bot tier 1. Mid's pushing in. Can they get the Herald though? Does HLE want to contest this, Morgan? Looking
Morgan
for TP.
has the TP, goes in with it. Rift held down to 1,500. The eye is open, but on the wrong side, and Willer steals it away. Morgan now looking for an engage possibility. They decide against it. The eye opened on the side of Hanwha. Even the gods of the Rifter on their side. It sucks so much for them, man.
Oh, bot tower died as well. Everything's just falling apart. Herald's gone. There's the mid-tier one we talked about. Dragon's up in a minute. Oh, PSG needs to find something. Oh, no, I didn't see that. No. You didn't see that?
No, I didn't
see that. No.
Cool.
He cleansed it so fast he didn't even see it near him.
What is that? It's not the Captain Jack, it's the...
I mean, we can name it after Unified. We named the Tryndamere R thing after Perks, so that's the Unified.
I think Perks named that against over himself.
That's true. That's true, he did. But yes, great sequence of events for Hanwha Life. You can see PSG invested time into getting the Rift held. They weren't able to secure it. Willa got it with the smite, and then mid tier 1 goes down, bot tier 1 goes down, and because of it, Hanwha Life now 4,000 gold in the lead.
And PSG are quickly running out of options. You know, they moved 5 top. They wanted to try to play for that. They are falling further and further behind. Second item completions are starting to come through. You can see Chovy already has the rapid fire down. And now as PSG are kind of in this difficult position where you feel like you have to fight for a dragon, but you're doing it from such a losing spot. Yeah, and this game is so important for both these teams. They're basically fighting for the second seed in the group itself. As we pull up the standings, RNG are 3-0, PSG and HLE just fighting for second place. Fnatic, of course, if they can beat RNG in the next game, they will join the 3-way fight for that second place position. But if PSG somehow find a way back in this game, then it's all but guaranteed. So HLE need to make sure they close this out in a clean fashion. Third Dragon, this could be Cloud Soul point for Hanwha Life.
Vision control definitely in favor of Hanwha Life as the Destiny has been used. Hanabi not moving, does have the TP. Only third Dragon would be Soul Point. There's the Destiny behind them. Kaiwing stunned up. Zenith Blade goes wide. Everfrost's going to get the root there as well. Now Hanabi's going to TP in. The hook connects. Kaiwing hasn't had an opportunity to move here at all. Morgan stunned up with the Solar Flare. The bullet time comes over. And Deft and Vsta are forced away. Morgan able to escape. Kaiwing has fallen. Heartbreaker coming out. There's a stun card once again as they look to take down River. Flashes onto the blast cone, but the chase is on. Morgan flashing forward as they look for the damage. And Maple pops the stopwatch, but he's going to go pop shortly after. You have to feel Willa able to jump away, but now Hanwha Life just corralling PSG exactly where they want them. The lockdown with the Gravitum, the stun card, and Deft takes the kill.
And Hanabi just joined so late with the TP. If you're going to fight for that, you need the Graves there early.
Oh, they're going to chase here. Maple. Deft still able to get away from that one. Flash forward from Unified, but it's way too little, it's way too late, and it's Hanwha Life with the ace.
Oh, that hook from Vsta stopped Maple's chains connecting onto Deft. Maybe he could have taken him down. He had no summoners, but he gets interrupted and pushed back, and Hanwha Life find 5 kills.
Yeah, this is an absolute stomp at this point. PSG clearly wanted to fight for this in the new Axe Pack replay. You can see it, but I mean, by the time the TP is actually coming through, they've lost so much health. I mean, look at Kaiwing. He's already pretty much out of it completely, and Morgan getting so much AoE damage down.
Yeah, and the only person who's really playing the fight too quick is Morgan. You can see how slow HLE want to play it. Stun card, hook, roots from Aphelios, play it slow. Viego finds 1 reset, he finds 2. Morgan flashing in there to get a Q. Yeah, he's playing the fight a bit too fast. But the rest of Hanwha Life very well coordinated, chasing PSG down, splitting them up. And they just took every single member of PSG down. Only Morgan falls.
Just too easy for Hanwha Life in fights like that. Position it pretty perfectly and able to collapse onto PSG. Now 6,000 gold ahead. Cloud Soul on the horizon, 3 minutes away. Baron not even spawned yet, but definitely an option for Hanwha Life with the amount of damage they've got out. You can see Chovy, he understands there might not be that much magic damage on the team, so he's taken it upon himself to get himself a little book of tricks. Medja is at 8 stacks so far.
Yeah, looking really good this game, Chovy. And honestly, they could go for Baron, but there's not really any need to risk it. You know, you can want to set up more for a turn if you're going to. No need to actually flip or just go for the soul. They're in full control of this game. A Baron steal would be one of the only things that could pull PSG back in.
Solar Flare, Zenith Blade, Destiny follow, and Vsta is caught out. Fight might continue. Deft has a good flank position. It's a 4v4 right now as the Destiny comes in from Chovy, looking for the Sun cards. Moonlight Vigilance to the back line as well. Unified trying to do what he can, but he doesn't have the bullet time anymore. And Kaiwing will fall alongside River. Hanwha Life able to collapse on PSG's catch.
Yeah, PSG collapsed onto Vsta, but Deft just mows them down with the red and white guns, doing so much damage. That could be a Baron for them as well. Hanabi no TP. Maple's forced out with no TP. No jungler alive. That's going to be a 20-minute Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they take the fight, but Hanabi can't join, right? So even though they got the initial pick, it's still just a 4v4, and you've spent your spells to get that initial kill. So Hanwha Life going to be able to take this easy Baron. Yes, Graves gets something on that bottom side, does take 2 towers for himself, but that is so much more taken on the top side.
And now we'll just see Hanwha able to use this pressure from the Baron just to push in whatever lanes they want. Do they still have TPs? I didn't see it before we got into the replay.
They do have TP on Morgan, I believe, and they will have TF ultimate soon. So yeah, Vsta gets hit by the Solar Flare, has flash, does flash in the end. Doesn't have the aftershock though, so he does die pretty quickly, but the collapse from Chovy was great. Pops the Destiny and gets himself in.
Exactly, and the big thing is, you know, you have a 4v4, right? But you've already spent the Leona ult, the MF ult, you've spent Sylas ult, you've spent so many tools to actually get that initial kill on the enemy Thresh. So when Hanwha Life carries arrive, there's not really any recourse for you. You can't fight back whatsoever. So it was just the only option to try to bail out. But as soon as River is down, it's a guaranteed Baron for Hanwha Life, and it feels like this game is pretty much all wrapped up.
And we'll see if PSG can fight back in any way, because as you say, Hanwha Life with the Baron for 2 minutes. Morgan with the TP can just split off towards this bottom side. Looks like Chovy working his way around from the blue buff, and it's going to be a 2-3 split. Chovy, Deft, and Vsta in the mid lane. Willa acting as a, bouncing between the 2 lanes, and Morgan down towards this bottom side. So Willa able to react if anyone does collapse on that Renekton.
Yeah, 2 tier 2s are up, and they should be pretty free once they just keep chipping them down with the waves. 40 seconds on Dragon as well, so Hanwha Life, even after these tier 2s, can just B-roll towards the Dragon. Take that, get the soul. Can PSG really contest? They have no vision whatsoever around it apart from the Scuttle Trap. So yeah, PSG backs against the wall.
It's the sort of moment where you'd say, well, you just got to pull the trigger. You got to do something. PSG, Solar Flare, Bullet Time is a great combination, but I don't even think that would be enough damage to get through Hanwha Life right now. The wallet size just a little bit too gargantuan for the LCK representative.
And Vsta has itemized to answer it, right? He went for the Mikhail's Bell here. He knows the only real chance of actually falling in this game is those picks. So if the Solar Flare catches someone, if Deft has Cleanse and he has the Mikhail's on top of that.
And the shield bow.
Yeah.
He's pretty much unkillable. Mid-tier 2's down. They've swapped it up from going 4-1 to 1-4 now because their tower hitters are in the 4-man river.
There's the engage, there's the bullet time. They're looking for Deft, who gets out with the lantern. You can see what PSG wanted to do, but Hanwha are not having any of it. They chase PSG away back underneath the tower. All of Hanwha survive, and Hanabi pays for it with his life.
Yeah, nice try by River. Nice try, gets the Q3, gets the knockup. Deft had flash in around 5 to 10 seconds, so there was a tiny window. But the Lantern takes him out, the shield bow keeps him up. That's a bot tier 2, and that'll be a Dragon Soul.
Yeah, it's a low percentage play, but you have to go for those when you are this far down. You can't allow them to just chip away at everything. But the lead extending even further. Cloud Soul move speed just makes it even more difficult to actually find those picks and to deal with these teams that are playing sides. And honestly, the Cloud Soul proc for Renekton is one of the best in the game, being able to look for those flanking positions and take it. Here it is one more time, Deft stepping forward, but this is already in the perfect position. The Lantern is there waiting for him. Cleanse, Lantern, double ward on the Lantern to try to stop it, but Deft gets the book anyway.
Yeah, you can see at the bottom of his screen, his flash is coming up in a couple seconds. The Q3 knockup was good from River. They only lose 1 in the end, but they lost so much more in objectives. And this win for HLE, which you expect to come through, is going to shake up this group dramatically.
It really is. Opens up the possibility of, obviously tiebreakers later on. But if PSG had won this, it would have been all done but the singing for Hanwha. Now they'd have that equal head-to-head with PSG.
Yep.
And it means that the rest of the games today become even spicier.
Absolutely, because now there's so many different opportunities for potential tiebreakers, for different teams to get out. You'd have 2 teams sitting at 2 wins. Fnatic could potentially catch up. You could even have 3-way ties. Madness is possible.
Kaiwing locked down here. The Solar Flare did go wide. Deft coming in. Hanabi trying to put the damage down as well as Morgan's down to half HP. Another gold card locked in by Chovy. Hanwha Life were looking for a pick onto the support. Couldn't find it, but they do get the Solar Flare out for it. Unified still here. Oh, it's now running towards the mid lane to clear out the wave, and it looks like PSG will give up their last remaining tier 2, although they're going to fight for it for a second. End of the line comes out, clears out the wave. The tower still stands for the time being.
Could be free pick'ems this objective. I think the problem is HLE got Baron at 20 minutes. Well, not a problem, but the only real problem of getting Baron at 20 minutes is you
Problem
can't...
is, I'm just so rich.
Yeah,
my pockets are really heavy.
Oh.
And the pants, it's
My
just
wallet
like,
keeps breaking as there.
I know, I
too
hate
many
it.
bills in
I have too many cars. They don't fit in my garage.
So annoying.
Oh, it's the worst game
Yeah, you guys are too good. Yeah, you guys are too good. No, but you can't siege tier 3s with a 20-minute Baron. It's impossible. Even with the biggest wallet in the world, it's really hard to siege tier 3s. That's why you throw games.
And yes, they haven't been able to crack the tier 3s, as you say, Kedra. It was a valid analytical point, but we used it to mock and berate you. So I hope that's okay with you.
I'm used to it, don't worry. I'm used to it. I'm like a punching bag. I can take it. Malzahar, playoffs.
I mean, you have the Malzahar thing as your own sub-sound. I don't think you can accuse anyone of mocking you for
see,
that,
here's the thing, you laugh or you cry. It's one or the other.
As an NA fan, I'm sure you're used to that.
Mostly crying, but lots of crying.
I think as an EU fan, we might be used to that soon.
I need some tips.
You might need to get used to this,
I need some tips, mate. Anyway, back to two regions that we haven't mentioned for a little while, LCK
Oh,
and
look at that
the
gold
PCS.
leads, clean 10k. Oh no, ruined, man. 200 gold, 300 gold for PSG. Never mind, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, because we have a little bit of a joke. It's Hanwha Life are in such a commanding position in this game. PSG, they've tried to make the play a couple of times. It just doesn't work when you're playing into Mikaels, when you're playing into flashes, when you're playing into cleanses. It's so difficult to lock anyone down.
And I mean, you can see that HLE are just checking all the boxes. How could you possibly lose the game? Okay, well, maybe a pick. So you've got the Mikaels. Now you have 3 stopwatches sitting there. You've got Shield Bow. They're just making sure that there's no possible way PSG could come back through their itemization, through their positioning, through the denial of vision, setting up around these objectives. They're playing a very clean game.
They definitely are. And this Baron is up. They should be able to melt straight through it with the items that the Aphelios has. And as a jungle main myself, if you're playing Zhao into a Renekton with plate to steel caps, Bramble Vest, and your top lane's AD damage as well, that guy is absolutely unkillable. Chovy has the stopwatch and flash up and has rapid fire to play from range. And Deft, like we said, has a Mikaels cleanse. So there's really no one PSG can dive onto.
Hanwha Life going to set up vision control in this red side jungle. There is a ward on their blue from PSG. River, though, going to get stunned up, and Hanwha Life just going to chunk out the jungler. Maybe now we'll want to turn back towards that Baron. You saw a couple of pings coming down onto it. Maple does have a TP ward control on the blue buff, and perhaps a possibility of a flank.
And I think at the very least, you just start it up and try to force Maple to TP. And then if Maple TPs, you can evaluate from there. Do you turn? Do you finish? But they want to get that out for sure. And River didn't get a chance to base because they went right to it. He's still so low.
Yeah, and he's on vision as well, so as long as Chovy keeps marking him and pushing him back, they should be able to finish the Nash. But River looks like he is in range.
Sort of already used.
Oh.
River's so low. Just so much damage coming out from Crescendo Crescent Guard being used as well. They're looking for Morgan. At least they can find a single pick with the Baron taken already by Hanwha Life. And now they turn back towards Maple. They know he's somewhere in the vicinity. Oracle's popped. Willa on the chase, and Maple should just be able to get over that wall.
Yeah, I think HLE can just back off now and look for the siege. But one thing that I am noticing from HLE is they're very reserved when it comes to getting these objectives. Around the Herald, when Willer stole it away, there was 5 people just stacked up from PSG, and they could have slow chased him down and maybe got some sums. But no, we got the objective, let's back off. Same kind of thing just happened with this Baron. Maple pretty much just hunt him down and find him. You can turn on the 4-man around the red buff entrance, but instead they got the objective, let's back off, let's all base, and let's get the setup.
Yeah, they're playing very risk-averse for sure, right? It feels like they're trying to make sure that there's no possible way you could ever lose. Get the Baron, reset, push out the waves, prepare for Elder, and I think they are looking for the double super buffs here to try to end the game.
And I think that makes the most sense in this situation. You lose this, you're out of contention for that, well, possibly out of contention, assuming RNG beat Fnatic for a spot in the quarterfinals. So making sure you have crossed your T's and dotted your I's makes the most sense. With the Elder Drake up in 45 seconds, they're going to push through mid and push through this bottom lane. Still, the inhibitor towers remain. We are still under 30 minutes through this game, and so
for a pick.
PSG, as you say, looking for
flash.
the pick. River backs away. The Zenith blade short. Everfrost misses as well. The Solar Flare will connect, and they're going to try and kill off Morgan before the stopwatch comes in. But the stopwatch has been used, and TP's now coming in from PSG. And immediately Unified is dead, and Morgan, he's just too damn tanky, man. Gorging the Sterak stopwatch. Give him all the ability to survive. Morgan almost back to full HP as well, because why not? Why shouldn't he be able to do that? The ace comes in for Hanwha Life, and now with Baron up for the minute and a half, and with 30-second death timers, they should be able to close this one out.
It's a clean game there for Hanwha Life. 15-2, absolutely stomped PSG to start this day off and even up the head-to-head.
A demolition, a shellacking, a barnstormer. Hanwha Life just totally destroy PSG and are looking to lock their spot in the quarterfinals today.
Woo, PSG need a mental reset after that one. When you're playing those kind of games and your options just get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, it becomes so sad to play the game. And in the end, yeah, you have to look for a pick over side, maybe kill off Morgan and then try to contest the Elder 5v4. But yeah, he's just too tanky. He's too tanky.
Yeah, I mean, he went a pretty defensive build there. He had the stopwatch to buy time. Everyone comes through. And if you don't insta-kill the Renekton, there's no shot that was going to work. But PSG were out of options, out of time. Hanwha take a very one-sided game.
And last time we saw PSG, it was a week early game into strong team fighting. Here, they just never had the option to have a strong team fight because Hanwha Life was so far